Today, we are counting down the 10 bargain airplanes most likely to bankrupt their unsuspecting owners. From entry-level trainers hiding six-figure maintenance bills to sleek twin-engine machines with catastrophic repair traps, these are the planes listed for less than a luxury car until the catch-up costs hit. Each spot on this list reveals a new reason why cheap to buy often means ruinous to own. So, which aircraft is the riskiest financial sinkhole of them all? Let us begin with number 10. Number 10 on the list is the Piper Tomahawk, a plane that looks like an unbeatable deal at first glance. Prices often hover around $30,000, promising a roomy cockpit and a low entry cost. But hidden in the logbooks is a legal trap that can turn your new airplane into nothing more than expensive scrap metal. In 1980, after a series of fatal tail failures, the FAA issued Airworthiness Directive number 80-22-02, mandating strict inspections for cracks in the tail and wing structure. Every Tomahawk has a structural life limit, typically between 5,000 and 10,000 hours. Once an airframe reaches that number, it is grounded by law, no exceptions. If you buy one without checking the hours and compliance records, you might discover you own a plane that can never fly again. Bringing a high-time Tomahawk into compliance can cost $5,000 to $15,000 for specialized inspections, and if it fails, you are left with a hull worth maybe $5,000 in parts. Owners have watched their bargain vanish the moment a mechanic flips to the wrong page in the logbook. The Cessna 172RG Cutlass looks like the perfect upgrade for pilots wanting a little more speed without jumping to a true complex twin. On paper, you get retractable gear and a constant speed prop for about $60,000, a tempting step up from the basic 172. But the reality is that the speed boost is barely 10 to 15 knots over the fixed gear version. Meanwhile, the insurance bill goes up by 24 to 30%. For a $75,000 hull, that is an extra $500 every year just for the privilege of tucking the wheels away. And that is before a mechanic even looks at the gear system. The 172RG's hydraulic electric landing gear is notorious for leaks and actuator failures. Rebuilding the pump alone can run $3,000 to $10,000. If an actuator fails, salvage yards charge $2,000 to $5,000 for a used part. Owners report an $800 to $2,000 surcharge on annual inspections just for the gear, all for a plane that climbs and cruises like a regular 172. Unless the logbooks show a flawless gear history and recent maintenance, the Cutlass can turn a budget buy into a slow-motion money pit. Franklin-powered classics like the Stinson 108 and some vintage Cessnas tempt buyers with bargain prices, often under $35,000. But under the cowl sits a financial trap, the Orphaned engine. When Franklin went bankrupt in the late 1970s, the parts supply dried up. If a cylinder cracks, there is no factory to call. Owners end up hunting rare spares on eBay or paying a machine shop to custom fabricate valves and pistons. The bill for a single custom machine cylinder can range from $3,000 to $12,000, and a full set runs $20,000 to $40,000, if you can even find the cause. Swapping the entire engine for something more common is a $40,000 project at best and months of downtime. Every custom part requires Federal Aviation Administration Form 337 approval, adding paperwork and delays. Mechanics insist on seeing detailed engine logs before touching these planes. A missing log or a questionable time between overhauls entry can turn a cheap Stinson into a 6-month, 5-figure restoration project. The sticker price may look gentle, but every missing part is a new line on the maintenance mortgage. The Cessna 337 Skymaster promises twin-engine security for the price of a single engine, but its unique push-pull design comes with a hidden maintenance toll. The rear engine, tucked behind the cabin, gets almost no cooling airflow when the plane is on the ground. Heat builds up fast, stressing components and shortening the life of hoses, seals, and wiring. Mechanics face a cramped, awkward workspace every time the rear engine needs attention. Routine service that takes 2 hours on the front engine can stretch to 4 hours or more on the rear. Labor rates stack up quickly. Owners report paying $2,000 to $5,000 just for a rear engine top overhaul, with the labor alone running 30 to 50% higher than any comparable twin. Over a typical engine cycle, that premium adds $10,000 to $20,000 in extra shop bills. A full rear engine job can top $30,000 if major access is needed. Every invoice tells the same story. A Skymaster maintenance log is a catalog of doubled labor hours and special tool charges. Before signing anything, buyers are advised to scrutinize engine logs for every rear repair and every cooling modification. What looks like a bargain in the classifieds can turn into a steady drain, not from rare parts, but from the relentless cost of keeping two engines, especially the hidden one, running cool and legal. Early Cirrus SR20s lure buyers with a modern look, a glass cockpit, and the promise of a built-in parachute system. For under $130,000, the dream feels within reach. But hidden in the logbooks is a mandatory expense that can wipe out any sense of savings. Every 10 years, the Cirrus airframe parachute system, the BRS, requires a complete repack and rocket replacement. This is not optional. If the repack is overdue, your insurance is at risk and you are flying illegally. The bill comes in between $15,000 and $20,000, and that is if nothing else is wrong. Early models also face recurring issues with line cutters and composite delamination. Service bulletins warn that repairs for composite cracks or delamination can run anywhere from $2,000 to $15,000, depending on the extent of the damage. Owners sometimes discover the repack is due right after purchase, with the logbook revealing a surprise 5-figure invoice. Insurance companies check the BRS repack date closely. If it is expired, they can deny a claim or hike your premium by 20 to 50%. What looked like a low-mileage, high-tech bargain turns into a balloon payment that can equal 15% of the airplane's value overnight. The only way to dodge the trap is to demand the latest repack receipt and a clean composite inspection before signing the check. The Navion draws pilots in with its warbird looks and solid build, but under the skin, it hides a maintenance problem that never truly goes away. Every major system, flaps, landing gear, and even the brakes runs on hydraulics. Over time, the seals inside these lines and actuators start to fail, and when they do, red hydraulic fluid begins to seep into the wheel wells and belly panels. Owners find themselves chasing leaks that never seem to end. A single bad seal can mean a $2,000 repair, but the costs add up fast. Some seasons, the bill for chasing persistent leaks climbs as high as $15,000, especially if contamination spreads and multiple components need attention. Shops specializing in Navions warn that a full hydraulic system overhaul can reach $20,000 or more. It is not a one-time fix either. The age of these planes means that new leaks can appear every year, and each round of troubleshooting brings fresh labor charges and parts orders. Miss a leak, and the red fluid can ruin wiring, corrode metal, or soak into insulation, sending the repair bill even higher. Logbooks packed with hydraulic service entries are a red flag, but a spotless history does not guarantee relief, just a temporary pause in the spending. For Navion owners, the true cost is not a single catastrophic failure, but the slow, steady recurring repairs that quietly outpace the savings of the initial bargain. The Beechcraft Duke sits on the ramp with the swagger of a jet and a sticker price that tempts anyone dreaming of cabin-class speed. Listings often hover between $100,000 and $180,000, less than a new family SUV. But the real bill is hiding under those sculpted cowlings. Each Duke is powered by a pair of Lycoming TIO 541 engines, among the rarest and most complex piston power plants ever bolted to a general aviation airframe. Overhaul shops routinely quote $70,000 to $90,000 per engine. That means a routine by-the-book dual overhaul can cost $160,000, more than the value of the entire airplane. Owners who skip proper engine management or stretch the time between overhauls find out the hard way. A single teardown can wipe out years of savings. Mechanics demand full engine logs and recent overhaul receipts before even considering a pre-buy inspection. Deferred maintenance or missing paperwork can mean starting from scratch, with a six-figure repair bill waiting at the end. The Duke's reputation for high dispatch costs is not about fuel or insurance. It is about a single capital event that can bankrupt a buyer overnight. The market knows it, and prices stay low because every Duke is a potential maintenance grenade. For those drawn in by the looks and the price, the real question is not how much you will pay to buy one. It is whether you are ready to write a check for two engines that cost more than the airplane itself. The L-29 Delphin offers something almost no other plane on this list can: the chance to own a real jet for the price of a used pickup. Listings for ex-military trainers hover around $40,000, and at first glance the numbers seem almost too good to be true. But the L-29 hides a variable cost that makes the purchase price look like a rounding error. The M701 turbojet engine burns between 150 and 200 gallons of Jet A every hour. At today's prices, $6 to $8 a gallon, that means a single hour in the air can cost $1,200 or more just in fuel. Some owners report receipts topping $1,500 for a single flight, before factoring in oil, maintenance, or hangar fees. The shock does not end with the fuel truck either. The L-29 is designed for military budgets, not personal wallets. Startup alone can burn 50 gallons before the wheels even leave the ground. Most buyers are caught off guard. They fly their new jet once or twice, tally up the receipts, and park it for years. Owner logs tell the real story. Many civilian L-29s show fewer than 10 hours flown since import. The math is brutal. A $40,000 jet that sits in the hangar, grounded by operating costs, is no bargain at all. Fuel logs and maintenance receipts pile up, each one a reminder that in aviation, the real price is paid by the hour, not at the point of sale. For the L-29, the siren song of jet ownership ends in a chorus of empty tanks and empty bank accounts. The Cessna 421 Golden Eagle sits at the top of many pilots' wish lists, a pressurized twin-engine cruiser with a cabin fit for executives. Prices often look like a steal, with airframes changing hands for as little as $120,000. But hidden behind the polished yoke is a mechanical risk that can wipe out that savings in a single maintenance event. The heart of the problem is the GTSIO 520 engine, a geared turbocharged powerhouse designed to deliver big horsepower at lower propeller speeds. It sounds like a technical upgrade, but the gearbox adds a layer of fragility that few buyers appreciate. Every 200 hours, the FAA mandates a close inspection of the gearbox, including chip detector checks and oil analysis. If a mechanic finds even a trace of metal, the teardown begins. A minor gearbox issue can trigger a $30,000 to $80,000 repair bill. If the damage runs deeper, a full engine overhaul can top $100,000 per side. The real threat is pilot technique. Move the throttle too quickly and the gearbox can strip its teeth in an instant. Owner forums are packed with stories of pilots who learned this lesson the hard way. One logbook entry, chip detected at 1,950 hours, can mean the difference between a routine annual and a six-figure invoice. Mechanics demand a complete gearbox inspection history before signing off on a pre-buy. Gaps in the logs are an immediate red flag. The Cessna 421 reputation for financial heartbreak comes not from rare parts or exotic systems, but from the relentless risk that a single misstep by pilot or mechanic can trigger a maintenance mortgage that dwarfs the price of admission. For buyers lured by the promise of affordable luxury, the Golden Eagle's gearbox is a silent gatekeeper, demanding discipline, documentation, and a willingness to write very large checks when things go wrong. The Mitsubishi MU2 sits at the top of the so-called bargain list for one reason: most pilots cannot even get it off the ground. On paper, it is a high-speed turboprop that outpaces a King Air for a fraction of the cost. Airframes trade hands for as little as $250,000, sometimes less. But that price tag is just bait. The real barrier is not hidden in the logbooks or buried under the cowling, it is the insurance market. The MU2's accident history is infamous. Over 395 incidents and 157 fatal crashes since the late 1960s forced the FAA to step in. In 2006, the agency issued Special Federal Aviation Regulation 108, making recurrent, model-specific training mandatory for every pilot in command. No exceptions. Approved courses run $5,000 to $15,000 every year, with travel and simulator time on top. Insurers treat Special Federal Aviation Regulation 108 as the bare minimum. Even after training, underwriters demand at least 1,000 hours total flight time and 250 hours in turbine-powered aircraft before they will even consider an application. Some carriers require 250 hours in the MU2 itself, plus annual or semi-annual check rides. For pilots without that pedigree, the answer is simple: no quote, no coverage, no flight. Brokers report that only 2 or 3 underwriters will even look at a new MU2 policy. Premiums for experienced multi-thousand-hour pilots start at $15,000 to $20,000 per year, more than the cost to insure a light jet. For anyone with less time, the numbers double if a quote comes at all. Many buyers receive formal denial letters, sometimes weeks after the sale closes. One owner with over 2,000 hours and a clean record was quoted $22,000 for a single year of hull and liability. Another was told to find a co-pilot with 500 hours in type or park the plane indefinitely. The end result is a machine that almost nobody can afford to operate legally. The MU2's low sticker price is a mirage. Without insurance, the plane is little more than a hangar queen. The cost of compliance, training, premiums, and the ever-present threat of denial makes ownership commercially impossible for all but the most seasoned turbine pilots. For everyone else, the bargain is not just risky, it is out of reach entirely. Across all 10 entries, one truth stands out. The cheaper the plane, the higher the hidden risk. What looks like a steal often hides a financial time bomb, from regulations to rare parts to insurance walls waiting to explode. In aviation, the sticker price is just bait. The real cost is always buried in the logbooks. Fly smart, and remember, bargains in the sky can be the most expensive lesson of all.